Welcome back, everybody. We're continuing on in our study of probability. Talking about now theoretical probability versus experimental probability. So, experimental probability is what actually happens when you spin your spinner 100 times, or flip a coin 80 times, or rock, paper, scissors 1,000 times. Versus theoretical probability is what you should get when you flip a coin 100 times. For example, in theory, if you were flipping a coin 100 times, because you can get a head one or out of two possibilities, which is heads or tails, then you should get heads 50 out of that 100 times. However, when you actually conducted your experiment and did your 100 trials, you actually only flipped heads 41 times. So that's the difference between theoretical and experimental. Let's do some examples. We have a spinner. Gabby has a spinner divided into 5 equal sections of blue, green, orange, red, and yellow. She spins the spinner a number of times and records the results below. I didn't put the table on here, but we're going to start with what is the theoretical probability that the spinner lands on red? Well, there's 5 equal sections and one of them is red. So one possibility out of 5 total outcomes. What is the theoretical probability that it lands on orange? Well, again, there's 5 equal sections and only one of them is orange. So one orange section out of 5 possible outcomes. What is the experimental probability that the spinner lands on red? Well, the spinner landed on red 10 times and there were 30 trials. And how do we know that? Because we take the 5, 9, 6, 10, and 0, add them up, and we get 30. So we have 10 times that it landed on red out of 30 total tries. And if I reduce that, that's 1/3. For orange, it landed on orange 6 times out of the 30 times, which is reducing to 1/5. So if I said which of those actually landed on its theoretical probability, then we would say it's the orange because they both were 1/5. So if we have a set of cards numbered 1 through 12, find the following. The probability that you could get an odd number. Well, out of 12 numbers, half of them are odd, right? So we have 6 out of 12 could be odd, which is a half. The probability of a number greater than 4. Well, that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's 3, 6, 8 of them. So 8 out of 12. And that would reduce to 2/3 because we can divide both of those by 4. So that would reduce to 2/3. The probability that it is even and less than 5. So the numbers less than 5 are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of those, only 2 and 4 are even. So 2 out of the 12 possibilities would be even and less than 5. That would reduce to 1/6. The probability that a number is divisible by 3. So 3, 6, 9, and 12 are the numbers that would be divisible by 3. That's 4 out of the 12 possibilities. And again, always wanting this to be in simplest form, 4 twelfths reduces to 1/3. The probability of a number greater than 7 or less than 3. So greater than 7 is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, or 12. Less than 3 is going to be 1 or 2. So if I count that up, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. So this probability would be 7 twelfths. And I can't reduce that. Oops. At the bottom of that, it says, is that an example of theoretical or experimental probability? And we would say it's theoretical because there's no mention of actually drawing cards. They didn't say Karen drew cards 200 times or Joe drew cards 60 times or anything like that. So example 2, you will be doing in class, and we will talk through all those. The second example that we have today is talking about a jar of jelly beans. So we have 12 red, 13 black, 11 yellow, and 5 pink. So we need to start with, let's add those up. And when we add those up, we get 41. So the probability that when we pick a jelly bean, the color is going to be red would be 12 out of 41. There's no way to reduce 1241, so we're just going to leave that alone. Black, 13 out of 41. Not yellow. So if there's 11 yellow, then we take 11 from 41 and we get 30. So 30 out of 41 of them are not yellow. Again, this would be theoretical because it doesn't say any experiment has happened yet. They didn't say Suzanne picked 150 times out of the jar or, whatever, that they would have actually done the picking and then putting it back. If you could write your own and bring that to class tomorrow, then that'll be the rest of your credit for these notes. Thanks for joining me. Have a great night.